Alright, what is poppin', people? We're back, and yo, it's been a hot minute since I've done one of these spotlight little things, because, it's just kind of fun content. I get to ramble on and on about a Pokemon in the tier, and so I felt, hey, I just got a whole bunch of new viewers, by the way. Welcome, there's like 100 of you, which is pretty fun. Thank you all for coming, I hope you stick around. But I thought, hey, Flygon is a pretty cool Pokemon. We're most definitely losing it come the next tier shift in July. Yeah, July will be the next actual shift. But I thought it'd be cool to talk about here. I think Flygon is a Pokemon that you definitely can make a case that it is the best Pokemon in the tier. Now, I will never step down from Copperajah being the best mon in the tier. I'm just not willing to have that debate with anyone. I think Copperajah just does so much so well that even, like, regardless of how many other super threatening Pokemon there are, or super, like, splashable even in the case of Flygon, I'm not willing to step down from Copper, but I'll see this much. I think people can argue at least that Flygon is near Copperajah's level. And why is that? Well, let's get the let's get the elephant out of the room here. NU and Volt Switch immunities. Yeah. Oh, there are not many. And they kind of all lose to Rotom-Mow. Flygon is different in the fact that it at least isn't weak to Leaf Storm. And so while you still take a whole bunch from it, you can still manage okay enough. It's not a good matchup because a lot of the time your only way of even doing anything back to a Rotom-Mow is like Toxicking it or you turning on out. And well, if they Will-O-Wisp you, that's just not good. So there's quite a lot of just bad when it comes to trying to handle Rotom-Mow for a lot of her Volt blockers, but Flygon at least kind of does it okay. That's for one. Another, again, this sticks with the theme of ground types. It's good to have a resistance to rock. I don't think Tyrantrum's a very good Pokemon when, it's all said and done, but having a mon that at least dissuades one of the, most scary wall breakers in the tier from head smashing is great. And Flygon just has a lot of other really good things at its disposal, right? It's a ground immunity, which is always super good. It's a defogger. It's got really good sustain because of Roost. It can pivot around with U-turn. It's probably one of the best toxic spreaders in the tier. Scarf Flygon is an incredible set. I think it's probably the best Scarfer in the tier, I would say. And it's just got a decent amount of set versatility. So, as we get into it, I kind of have these ordered by viability, but honestly, I think you could flip a coin and pick either one of these if you wanted to say the best set. I'm picking utility because in my eyes, it's kind of more common at this point. Now, utility Flygon has a good amount of, like, things it can still opt to do, right? So, I have this as the set of choice. I think a lot of the time you'll see Toxic or U-turn drop for Defog, though. So, imagine either of these slots, U-turn, Toxic, Roost. Flygon's just really consistent at pivoting into certain Pokemon. One of the nice things about this set is that it's actually a pretty good Copperajah switch-in, which not much of the tier can claim to do, because that one's super strong. And so being able to switch into it, force it to take Helmet Chip, and just deny it Stealth Rock is a really useful trade. And to go on with the versatility that this set offers, I think with EVing Flygon, you've got a decent amount of options. I think you at least want 24 speed. This gives you the jump on Adamant Tyrantrum and by proxy and Adamant Decidueye. But I do think you could go up to 252 if you wanted to outspeed Sirfetch'd maybe. We gotta start running Jolly for the rest of these just to optimize EVing. You could probably do this if you wanted to get the jump on actually hold on. I believe yeah. You want to go up to 266, I would say, for the next speed spot. This would get you the jump on Jolly Tyrantrum, if you really felt it necessary. And I think you can even go all the way up to, I think it'd be this, 298, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, this gives you the jump on Rotom Cut. And of course, by proxy, something like max speed, Jolly Toxicroak or something. So you got a decent amount of stuff you can do with EVs, which I think is always nice when you got a really customizable Pokemon. And to keep it up the theme of just really customizable, you've got Scarf Flygon. And again, it has a lot of the similar utility that this more just defensive-esque set wants to offer. It still's got a whole bunch of the defensive tools, except obviously it lacks the longevity because, you know, you're not investing in bulk, you're not running Roost. But it's a really good pivot. It just outspeeds a lot of stuff in the tier. It's one of the best revenge killers to say things like, I was gonna say Celebi, but like, I don't know how much chip you need for U-turn to KO. But like, Salazzle, being able to revenge kill that reliably is a really good thing. You can revenge kill some of the frailer wall breakers, like say Tauros and Surfetched, which is really good. I think the big question you usually will have on Flygon with Scarf is like, what do you want the last move to be? I think Stone Edge is probably the best at the moment, just so that you have a way to pop Talonflame. Because a lot of people want to pivot in their Flame Body Talonflames versus you as for U-turn, and fish for, well, burn. Having Stone Edge just denies that. Being able to get rid of what potentially is your opponent's fast Pokemon on their team is super helpful. But you can see some other options, right? So there's always the fabled Panic Defog button. Sometimes you'll see a team go like Spikes and not want to try to fit a Spinner, because, you know, in-use Spinner situation is pretty bad. So Defog on a Scarfer, if you just want to say, okay, I'm going to get up all my hazards and then just, if I really need to Defog, I have got it. It's an option. Dragon Claw is another good option, just so that Flygon doesn't have to lock into Outrage if you want to revenge kill something that you can't with Earthquake. Flygon's just really weak, and so as a result, you really want to be clicking Outrage if you're ever using a Dragon move. That's the problem. Throat Chop, I think, is also a decent move. It's obviously weaker than Outrage versus super effective targets, but the nice thing about it is it lets you safely revenge kill something like, say, Decidueye, or like Delmise even if you need to, without locking into Outrage, which could be important if your opponent's got a Sylveon on the back. I've even like considered this a little bit like Roost on Scarf Flygon. This Pokemon is kind of prone to taking a knockoff from Drapion, and it could be nice to have Roost. I mean, the last move isn't really like too necessary regardless of what you put there, and so I do think you could like justify this semi-okay. Anyhow, let's look at the sets that are a little bit less commonly seen. So you got Choice Band. The big thing for Choice Band Flygon is First Impression. With how prevalent Hyper Offense is in NU at the moment, it's super cool to be able to fit just a super strong priority move onto something. And priority in general is kind of cool. You've seen like things like Toxicroak pick up steam recent months, not just because of priority, but it, you know, does carry it. Surfetched is a really good Pokemon that even sometimes goes double priority with First Impression plus Quick Attack. What else do we have that runs priority? Not a whole lot. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. That's why priority is really cool when you can combine it. I guess random Sucker Punches are hard. Oh, that sounds really bad, but you get the point. When you can fit priority on your team, it's really nice if in just a pinch you need to revenge kill something like a Blastoise that's set up, or a Kingdra, you know. And of course, Ground is a really spammable offensive typing. It just there's not a lot that resists or is immune to it. Now, while I think every good NU team could fit several ground immunities on your team, on their team, it's not like you can't get rid of them. And obviously, you still retain pivoting, and it also makes your Outrage actually do damage, which is really good. And then the last set is a set that I don't really think gets much use anymore, but is still reasonably good, is DD Flygon. Shoutouts to the guy that washed Joey and me when we ran into the fabled U-turn DD Flygon, but DD Flygon is something that you really only see on like certain dual screens teams at this point. And that's not to say that you can't fit it onto like a balanced squad, but you know, a lot of time those teams look at themselves and go, damn, how do I ever prevent Volt Switch from claiming momentum every time? Sometimes it's Golurk. And obviously Golurk doesn't really want to come in versus Orotomo, but sometimes it's Golurk. But a lot of time it can also be DD Flygon. I think a lot of time you want Throat Chop as your last move, because it rounds out coverage against stuff like, say, Delmise, Decidueye, Levitate, Bronzong quite well. I think you can try to consider Iron Tail if you really want to pop something like a Sylveon. You still need, like, significant chip. But also, I mean, side note right there as well, Throat Chop is good against Sylveon if they're Hyper Voice, so, you know, there's still use for it. Fire Punch is it's like incredibly okay. Mostly just because it compresses a lot of coverage into one spot. It's like a neutral move. I don't think it's anywhere near one of the best moves. But I mean, it's okay. Oh, Flygon goes Quick Attack? Yeah, I'm gonna run that on it. Stone Edge is also, again, fine. It's more of the same with Talonflame, wherein it just gives you a way to get rid of it without having to make contact. Also, since, you know, at +1 you're not OHKOing it, and you might end up just getting Wisped. Now, obviously, we are running Lumberry on this Flygon. I do think there are other options worth considering. I think Life Orb's good, especially because Flygon is sort of weak. So getting a little bit of extra damage really lets you it helps Flygon muscle past something like a Sylveon a lot more effectively. I think you can consider Soft Sand. Similar to Life Orb, just gives you the ability to muscle past a Sylveon a little bit more effectively. Other items that I've seen, Leftovers is like fine. I think if you want to go like some weird set with like Substitute and then 2 other attacks, you could get a decent amount of mileage out of it. Yeah. And then other Flygon sets, I mean, you can run special on this. You can go like, say, Draco Meteor, Earth Power, Fire Blast, Roost if you want to with a Life Orb. Good old DPP special here. I think you can even just go like Mixed. Where's Earthquake? Yeah, there you go. Nice Mixed Flygon. It's not a common sight at all, but one that has seen at least a little bit of use in the past. It's kind of cool because Draco Meteor is a good lure for Mudsdale. Or it makes Flygon a good lure for Mudsdale, I should say. Eh. I'll even give this one a nice little name right there. Nice Mixed. Nice Mixed Gun. Yeah, that's really it for Flygon in terms of what you want to run on it. I don't have a, normally what I would do is I'd put up one of those little box things that you can and put a whole bunch of checks to it, but honestly, I don't find Flygon to be a mon that you really need to discuss much with for that. Especially since a lot of the time it's taking a utility route. I mean, checking a utility Pokemon really just comes down to like, okay, can you actually pressure it, right? So, you know, if you have a Glacier on your team, use an Ice move versus it, or like Ice coverage randomly. Or, you know, just have a powerful attacker that forces chip, things like that. If you want to talk about offensive Flygon, then it's like, okay, have a physical wall. And you has a lot of those. You got Vileplume, you've got Bronzong, you've got Mudsdale, you've got Vaporeon. You know, again, this is a case where I just feel like it's so straightforward that we wouldn't really gain too much from talking about it. I think a lot of the time it's good to go into that kind of thing with other Pokemon, but Flygon to me isn't worth it. If we were talking about, say, Blastoise here, right? You know, a Pokemon people love to say right now should be suspect tested. Well, that's maybe worth trying to explore that idea of how limited is the counterplay to Blastoise. But for Flygon, I don't know. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll try to get some laddering out soon. Just kind of depends on the next time I get the urge to ladder. Maybe do it with a friend again, because, hey, I like when I have someone else to suffer with me. Anyhow, I mentioned this in a couple areas, but Ladder Tour is going on right now, so if you want to get some good in-you games in, you'll probably be able to find more good players on a ladder right now. And even if you're just, like, in the room, there's this bot we've got in here right now, Posho 9000, and it tells you when high elo games are going on, so you know what? Hey, if you're just sitting in the room, you might be able to catch some better games. And I think that's good for if you want to learn to tier, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope to see some of y'all on the ladder. And hey, I hope to see some of y'all in the comments section. I like interacting with you peeps. But until next time, Hope you're living life to the fullest. And I'll see you then. Peace.